Welcome to Stokvel Academy, you guys. It is Youth Month, and that is why you're not seeing our Stokvel Guru on the channel quite yet, because we thought, as the youth of Stokvel Academy, we should be doing the interviewing and talking about the Stokveling. However, I do have our Stokvel Guru with us today, because not only is it the beginning of Youth Month, but did you guys know that it is also the Global Day of Parents? I know, right? That is just completely like a different thought, because we just know that to be a day about us, right? So today we decided, let me instead, Tula Swedilis Kenjana, be the one hosting the interview and speaking to our Stokvel Guru, who so happens to also be my parent. And so that I can find out more about her journey as a young person during the 1976 youth riots, where she was and how that had an impact on her, and also most importantly, what was Stokvel's like back then. So I'd like to introduce to you Stokvel Guru, my mom, Mambusis Kenjana. Hi there, how are you?
Hi, I'm well, I'm super. Gee, I can't believe it that it's almost more than 40 years since that day.
It is, absolutely. Yeah. And how does it feel this time to be on the other side of the camera?
I wish I could just go through this every day. I actually hate facing the cameras, but it's a job that has to be done.
Job. Well, thank you so much for leading by example for us. But like we said, yes, today is the 1st of June 2022. We usually, when we think June, we're thinking Youth Month. But it's also globally recognized as the Day of Parents.
Oh, yeah.
So that was quite fascinating when we were doing our research, and that's why we decided to turn the tables a bit. So you, as being a parent, not only to me, but to most of the staff here who are, you consider your children, we would really love to know is, what was the impact that June 16 had on you almost 40 years ago?
You know what? The very first day, 16th June, it was actually the 17th June 1976. Yeah, I still remember as if it happened yesterday. I was at the University of Zululand. I don't know what is it called now. And all of a sudden we were called for a mass meeting, students meeting. And I must be honest with you, out of curiosity, I attended the meeting. And we were told that Soweto is up in flames. And remember, it was not the day of cell phones and all that stuff. It was bush communication, so to speak. And the directive was that tomorrow morning we have to just bring down the university. And I still remember very well the following morning I was there again, I don't know, out of curiosity or just out of sympathy with the Soweto students. And I said, I'm going to be there. And had to look for stones to throw, but there were not too many stones around our university. But yes, some students did find some things to use to sort of break things. And guess what? Within an hour, there was just army, and we were told to pack our things and go home. Just like that.
Wow.
And pack and go home. And yeah, we just to do exactly that, pack. And I didn't have a cent to travel from KZN to Johannesburg. All I had was a train ticket. And most of the students, we probably were in that situation. And we found ourselves hiking for taxis to Durban station. And as I said, we didn't have money. And then when we got to the station, the poor guys around the village loaded us in the buggies, hoping that we're going to pay them when we get to the station. We didn't have money, so we didn't pay. We said, sorry, we don't have money. And we didn't. I didn't, you know. So that was just one, I don't know what I should say, emotional or heartwarming memory about June 16. And fast forward, get home, it was just chaos. And for a moment, we were all caught up. We didn't really think about what next, and your degree, whatever you were studying for, it was just that we had to bring down this evil, this monster, the whole apartheid African story. And that was June 16, 1976 memory for me as a youth way back then. It's only, I think, 3 months down the line that things were like kind of quietening. Not really, that I'd say, what? I need to wake up and do something. And guess what? My dad enthusiastically got me a job. About, I think it must have been about 300 k's from home, because he had a friend who was a school principal at one of the most popular boarding schools. And that boarding school was in what was used to be called Uputatswana, so there wasn't much rioting. Things were kind of normal. And then all of a sudden I find myself, I'm now a teacher, teaching history.
Wow.
And yeah,
Wow.
I mean,
I am learning a lot here, by the way.
yeah,
Yeah.
so your mom has been a teacher,
Yeah.
and I was a teacher for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now tell me, in terms of that was a huge impact on you. It impacted your studies and your trajectory of where you were trying to go for your life. But we often the reason we celebrate it is because it was such a momentous time in our history that really showed how powerful the youth can be in bringing about change. So my question to you is, how do you feel about today's youth and the challenges that they're facing? For example, fees must fall and so forth, the lack of unemployment. How do you feel that the youth is rallying together, or how could they rally together better in order to bring about change for their futures?
Yeah, you're quite correct. Today's youth is faced with lots of challenges. But the positive side is that it's not only challenges, there's just too many opportunities for them. I like to look at it that way. As tough as it may be that, unemployment is high and fees, cost of living is high and all that. When I compare with our era, for example, the young guys who were today's youth age way back then, the easiest part-time job that they could get, some of them, was just to go and be gardeners at the suburbs, abelungu. Just, walk to the nearest suburb and just look for a job as a gardener. And don't you know that today's youth go and look for a job as a gardener? No. Much as it's no, I think there's other things that they could do. There's lots of opportunities. We're in the digital world today. Even business, there's more businesses that are opened to black people that were not, because way back then you either owned a shop, your parents had a shop, or a tavern, a sportini, there was just limited job or business opportunities. There's Uber today, and so depending on your personal circumstances as a youth, some parents today are now retired, meaning that they've got retirement packages, something that we never had. So if you are a smart youth, you could actually tap into, at least start with your parents, tap into your parents' resources, and parents are very much willing, to extend a hand. So yes, it is difficult, there are challenges for the youth, but I choose to look at the opportunities that are there for the youth.
Forever positive. I love that about you. So now let's get back to Stokvel's, because for the longest time since I've known you, and that's a long time, most of my life, you've just been Stokvel. So back in 76, or in your younger days, who actually planted the seed and inspired and modeled the power of stockfelling for you?
The first Stokvel that I can visualize up until today, it was between 1972 and 75, because I was staying at my aunt's place in Orlando West in Soweto. and they had the Stokvel, street Stokvel. You know, they were buddies, 5 of them. I could call them the big 5 when I look back. You know, and they used to have this stock gathering, I think once a month. They were neighbors, and she would literally cross the street and go to the neighbor's house, and they would sit there, chill. You know, you could see that these girls are chilling, you know.
They're just taking a break from
exactly, taking a break. And then the end of next month, they'll just hop into another house. And, you know, so it sort of made an impression to me. I mean, there was that order, you know, calmness. And then sadly enough, if there's a funeral, you'd see them again, you know, gathering things like huge pots, those basins, going to work and support, you know, the one who's bereaved or someone else in the neighborhood who was not even part of that Stokvel. So the first impression to me, it was just this warm and fuzzy friendship, neighbors. I saw this friendship just blossoming. And we as children also became friends, you know, because our mothers or my aunt in this instance was part of that, you know, Berian or Stokvel group. But there was this one gentleman who was just a darling to all of them. He just used to fascinate me. So there was one guy, you know, amongst these. Of course, his wife was member of the Stokvel as well.
Yeah. And and tell us more about him in terms of how he used to fascinate.
He was just what you guys call a cool guy, because about Tate Masimola, I still remember him very well. You know, he was a man of few words but very bubbly. You know, that's one thing about him.
He managed to hang out with these 5 women.
Definitely.
He had no problem.
He had no problem, and we all liked him. But Tate Masimola was just there and just, you know, just chilling, relaxed. Even the way, you know, his walk, and, you know, he was just a chilled guy, you know. I don't know. I think he, as they say, you know, when women are amongst themselves, there's always so he probably brought some calmness within the ladies when I think about it now.
True. So that's actually quite fascinating. So your first recollection is this 72 to 75, which is prior the youth uprising. Is there anything perhaps that you could tell us post, you know, 1976 in terms of your experience with Stokvel?
Of course it was, when now I had to shop around for my own Stokvel. I mean, fast forward 1981, I'm now an adult, young mom, young housewife. You know, things happened so soon between 76 and 1981. You know, I had my eldest son in 1978. I was a bit naughty anyway. So 81 here am I, I've got a house, and then, you know, a circle of friends, and I don't know how it started, but boom, Busi now is in Stokvel. We actually joined some elderly ladies. They were not that old. I think they must have been in their 40s. We're in our 20s.
Yeah, that is old.
And way back when you compare the two, exactly. So we joined them, but they were smart ladies. I think what inspired us to join them, they had beautiful houses. You could see in the neighborhood, Mrs. So and so, because we used to call them Mrs. You know, exactly. You know, we just respected them. And it was about, I think, 4 or 5 of us who were younger. So it was a source of inspiration in terms of how can we make our house look beautiful, and buying things like crockery and all that. So that's where my Stokvel journey began as a member.
Okay. Oh, absolutely. So you really took it from a point of view that I need to join a Stokvel for mentorship. You know, because I like how these women are running their households. Therefore, I need to do the same. Okay, absolutely amazing. So last but not least, you are Stokvel Guru. You've been at this for the longest time. What do you think is the state of the youth in embracing the Stokvel movement, and what is the future of the Stokvel movement in the hands of the youth, according to you?
In my view, the youth has always embraced the Stokvel movement, because as you think about it, when I joined the Stokvel, I was 21. And today I know people who have been part of Stokvels for more than 30, 40 years. So it means The journey begins during your youth era. You may not see it because today when you talk Stokvel, you just see abo mambusi, abo koko, abo auntie and all that. But in essence, I mean, this journey begins in your 20s or latest 30s, so to speak. So my observation is that the youth of today is still embracing Stokvel concept. They are, of course, doing things differently, as we understand, things have changed, there's evolution and all that. It's no longer just about burial only. And yes, they still do some things like your holidaying, which was not happening then because, holiday was a very foreign thing, amongst us or abomama bama-Stokvel ngaleso sikhathi. So there is a lot of development in terms of youth becoming part of this community. I now prefer to call it the Stokvel community because some of the youth are not actually members and they are still exploring because they are not sure whether they really want to be part of the Stokvel. There's different words that are being used, your bicycle club, and so there's lots of fancy things that are happening, but oxalayo, the bottom line, it is still a Stokvel. But what I also like the most, what is heartwarming to me, is just the eagerness to invest. The youth is searching for how can we better our lives in terms of investment, not just saving. Previously, the main focus was save money. And I'm not a disclaimer, I'm not a financial expert, but don't you all know that investment is the best thing that you could ever do for yourself, and in different asset classes and all that stuff. So that's what I love about youth curiosity about Stokvel. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Guru, Busi, Mam, Busi, Ma. There's so many names that we can appoint to you, but I think our Stokvel viewers, they know you as the Stokvel Guru because you are just so passionate. You have seen it all. We've watched your videos from when you guys lost money to some lovely adventures and travels and so forth. But we really, really do appreciate you taking out your time to tell us your story of Youth Day, and also to actually commend the youth for what they are currently doing and being open to the fact that things are being done differently. So guys, there you have it. We have Stokvel Guru, who's shared her story of youth of 1976 and also what she thinks about Stokvels in this day and age and with the youth in the future. So if you want to keep up to breast with what Stokvel Guru is doing and what we as a team are doing, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Every Wednesday we are dropping something new for you. And also remember to follow us on our Facebook, Instagram and Twitter pages. All of them are at Stokvel Academy. We look forward to seeing you soon. Take care and God bless.